What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. You are watching Vids World, and once again, we're doing something a little bit different. But just before we jump into it, I did want to let you guys know that this channel receives an awful lot of copyright claims, and we have also received a copyright strike now. So we've got to be very careful with how we do things on this channel. And also, it means that we don't always have the resources we need to continue producing videos. If a lot of you do request that we, take a look at certain videos, and if you do want to see us do that and continue to do that in the future, the best and one of the only ways you can do so is by hitting the super thanks down below, or supporting us on Patreon or buy me a coffee as well. With that in mind, guys, what are we doing today? Like I said, something a little bit different. We're going back in time a little bit, and we are reacting to Piya by the legendary late Pakistani artist Ustad Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, who is the uncle of Rahat. And of course, we've reacted to two of his performances now on the channel, and both of which blew me away. So we'll have to see if it runs in the family, shall we? Without further ado, guys, let's take a look at this song. So I do also actually want to say that this is audio only. So there is no, unfortunately, there's no video for me to go off, so we're just going to be breaking down the music. Let's take a listen, shall we? Is it going to be, an experimental, interesting vocal performance, just like his nephew? Sounds like it. Wow, okay, alright, okay, so we've only had a brief introduction to the vocals, but the instrumental, you might think that sounds like a string, as in like a metal, no, it's not string, spring. You might think that sounds like a spring, like boing, 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 that kind of sound. Or a synthesizer, maybe, but it's not. That is actually a stringed instrument. I can't tell what, but that is some sort of plucking sound. Quite unusual, but that is what it is. It's got this very, I'm getting this like sort of almost like Dia Docs sort of like, it sounds like the underwater level in a video game. Do you know what I mean? I'm getting this sort of aquatic, ambient, ethereal kind of sound. So this being the remix, obviously you can quite easily identify which was original and which is part of the remix. So obviously the instrumentation is all original thus far, apart from the drums. So you've got like the idea of this remix is obviously to reinvigorate the song, give it a bit more pace, give it a bit more of a distinct rhythm, because you've got like if you listen to the drum, doesn't sound like it's been sped up or slowed down. So we're working with the original tempo. We've just like I say, this is almost like a less of a remix, more of a reinvigoration, if that makes any sense. You just add in a bit more drive to it. Again, also very a great way of emphasizing vocals, particularly individual words, or like the cadence, the end of a sentence, how a line of song ends. A great way of emphasizing that. You might think is to introduce more instruments, but it's the opposite is often the case. Removing instruments from a track can often emphasize more than adding more sound, which is very unusual. So if you listen to emphasize the end of that line, if you drop the, you drop the instrumentation out, you take the beat out, it actually creates more of an impact than adding more sound. It's an unusual phenomenon, but it really works. So in terms of the vocals, it's clearly just a very typical southeastern Pakistani thing that singers have this very effortless delivery. It's there's no straining of the voice, but there's a really strong and pure tone being sung, and he obviously rubbed off on his nephew, because particularly with the introduction, but you can hear there's an intentional imperfection with the way he sings. He plays within the semitones rather than the whole tones within the melody, if that makes any sense. So there's he's modulating his voice to purposely go slightly in and out of tune to give it this more organic and natural feeling. It makes his voice sound more like an instrument and less like a vocal. Like I say, you might think that that's not as professional or not as good, but in fact it's the complete opposite. This is, you have to know what you're doing to be able to pull this off. Slightly, he's hitting the semitone. Now, I can tell that that's added after the fact, only because it's interjecting with his vocal, and obviously it's not. But nice. So that's what I really love about the Pakistani music scene is this. I've mentioned this countless times in previous videos. It's this blending of old and new, and using both of those to create something new. Not just using the latest sounds, the latest trends, It's accumulating all of the creativity from the past as well, bringing that forward into the future rather than just trying to move on from that. I love it. Key change. Okay. We've slightly softened the instrumental. We've gone more to an electronic kind of keyboard. I believe we've just had a keyboard. Oh, okay. So you can tell, because obviously a lot of this song is sung almost like a whisper. It's a very it's a quiet tone. He's just speaking to you quite gently. And then, when he starts to raise his tone, when he starts to raise his voice, that's when you can hear this really clean distortion coming into his voice. Have a listen. So have a listen to the start. He's almost whispering. Then as he gets louder, as his tone increases, you get this really Piya re, piya re, piya re, piya re, tar bina lage nahi mara jiya re, oh, tar bina lage nahi mara jiya re, naina ne thari kaisa jadoo kiya re, tar bina lage nahi mara jiya re, oh, tar bina lage nahi mara jiya re. So, really nice vibe to it. So obviously this is a remix, so it's sort of, you can get somewhat of an idea of the original feeling behind the song, but like I say, this has been reinvigorated. This has a new feel to it. But you guys will actually have to explain to me why what Piya means exactly, and obviously it's said twice. I mean, whether that means it's of. I wouldn't even be able to infer what it means, I'm afraid. But like I say, you guys have to explain to me the meaning behind the title of the song. That's that Ali Khan sound right there.
कब की रखियां रावां तक तक मैं ते थकियां सांझ सवेरे देखन लागी सांझ सवेरे देखन लागी.
Nice. I like how he emphasizing the end of each line with sort of a little bit of vocal distortion. Like I say, there's clearly like an Ali Khan sound. Do you know what I mean? There is this it's that tone, that really strong tone towards the end of each line that is obviously rubbed off on his nephew quite a bit, because that is something that was like almost integral with the two performances I saw from him.
सांझ सवेरे देखन लागी थारी सूरतिया मारी अखियां पिया रे पिया रे पिया रे पिया रे थारे बिना लागे नहीं मारा जिया रे ओ थारे बिना लागे नहीं मारा जिया रे नैना ने थारी कैसा जादू किया रे थारे बिना लागे नहीं मारा जिया रे ओ थारे बिना लागे नहीं मारा जिया रे पिया रे पिया रे पिया रे पिया रे थारे बिना लागे नहीं मारा जिया रे ओ थारे बिना लागे नहीं मारा जिया रे.
That's a little synth outro there. And there we go. What an interesting song. What an interesting song. And obviously that was a reinvigoration of, I mean, that would have been quite an old song at this point. That'll be more than 30 years old, I would imagine. The original, obviously. Incredible. What did you guys think? Obviously, like I said, you can definitely hear some, now going back, like obviously listening to this, that was obviously prior to Rahat, you can definitely feel some inspiration within his singing. Obviously, he's took it, you know, he's got his own sound, he's taken it to his own level, but there's obviously some very clear influences. A professional sound, a great sound. The vocal is there's no fault to it. There is absolutely no fault to it. Very just expertly executed throughout the whole song. Absolutely loved it. Fantastic. And like I say, really great vibe. Unfortunately, I didn't have any like visuals or subtitles to go off, but I mean, I can infer that it has somewhat of a positive connotation through the instrumentation, and obviously it sounded. It certainly sounded positive, but like I say, you guys will have to explain to me the meaning behind the song. I look forward to those comments. I will be reading them. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you very soon in the next video, guys. But until then, make sure you take care of yourselves. All right, see you all soon.